The layoffs continue, and some are pretty malicious. Oracle is targeting workers with unvested stock. CEOs are calling cut staff low performers even when they aren't. Staff get layoff emails at 4 a.m. It's all so weird. And now it seems to be backfiring. In some cases, very drastically. Doesn't it feel like something's broken in corporate culture? It feels like the unspoken contract and the trust between staff and the company is breaking. This is what happens when your employees start to hate you. We're in a strange time right now. All these layoffs aren't because companies are struggling. It's actually the opposite. While AI leaders insist that their tools will empower and augment workers instead of displacing them, several companies, especially those in tech, have initiated mass layoffs and are prioritizing spending on AI above workers. These companies are making more profit than ever, and this stage of layoffs is about companies consolidating or focusing on efficiency. And as we'll see, that's not entirely true. Cloudflare generated $639.8 million in just the first 3 months of 2026, a 34% increase from the previous year. 2 months later, on May 7th, Cloudflare laid off 1,000 employees to rely more on AI, about 20% of the company. Some who were fired weren't even given a reason.
Thanks for meeting with me and Rosie.
So why are you doing this and not my manager, not, we've never met, so.
IBM CEO Krishna promised more grad hiring, then laid off thousands days later. Several CEOs have even attended graduation ceremonies to give speeches promoting AI, including current and former Google CEOs Sundar Pichai and Eric Schmidt. And there's more. Pinterest announced cutting 15% of staff to invest in AI out of 4,700 employees. Atlassian laid off 1,600 people, called it an AI investment, and its stock rose about 2%. Intel is also restructuring and eliminating more than 25,000 positions, about 1/5 of their entire headcount. But one of the strangest is Meta. First, theirs was amongst the biggest layoffs, 8,000 in May 2026. This was also out of nowhere. Employees woke up to termination emails sent at 4 a.m. Yesterday, I was training up my new pod engineer. Glad I managed to squeeze in everything. Today, I'm laid off. And to make matters worse, leaked audio reveals more.
In other news, I know layoffs are top of mind, but there were also some updates this week around, and a question around employee device tracking. So can you share more on employee device tracking? I think the way that it was announced left folks with some...
Yeah. So, okay. The third piece, which is, in some ways, it's hard to say that any of these are more important than the other because they're all necessary, is effectively the data and what knowledge it learns. So we're in a phase where basically the AI models learn from watching really smart people do things.
Not great. More than 1,000 employees signed an internal petition demanding the company stop using that data for AI training. But things are a bit more nuanced. Regarding those layoffs, Meta is offering pretty generous severance packages and healthcare support, better than most tech layoffs. They've also reassigned more than 7,000 workers to new teams centered around artificial intelligence instead of cutting them. But some of these get much worse. Before we get to that, I'd like to talk to you about today's sponsor, ZocDoc. These layoffs are especially tough for those who may have moved cities or even states for this job. I myself recently moved across the country, and one of the most difficult challenges is finding a new doctor. You have to navigate all the options, figure out which are good, which are covered by your insurance, and when you finally find the right one, sorry, no spots available for 3 weeks. It's so confusing and overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. ZocDoc is a free platform that lets you search and compare local, in-network doctors. Over 150,000 providers within 200 plus specialties across all 50 states. One of the most important factors in our health is information. That's why we're told to get checked often, so we can catch a disease early and treat it. ZocDoc equips you with all you need. See if patients rate the doctor, see which network they're in, and if they're covered by insurance. You can even see a doctor's schedule and when they're available. Appointments are usually within 24 to 72 hours, and sometimes you can even get appointments same day. No need to wait weeks to get answers you need within days. ZocDoc isn't a healthcare provider. They help you cut through the noise and make healthcare less overwhelming. ZocDoc believes the healthcare industry should work for patients. ZocDoc has helped me a ton since I've moved, in particular their insurance filter, so I don't have to worry if I'll be covered when choosing a new practitioner. Life is already difficult enough. Give ZocDoc a try. It's totally free. You might see a better doctor in your city who's free this week. Click the link in the description, zocdoc.com/logicallyanswered, or scan the QR code on screen. Get instant access to 150,000 providers and make more informed decisions. Thank you once again to ZocDoc for sponsoring this video and for helping us all take better care of our health. There's Oracle. This year it laid off 21,000 workers to build its business around AI. They estimate that a layoff this large could free up $8 to $10 billion for AI infrastructure spending. But Oracle is particularly painful. Some employees had their bonuses tied to unvested restricted stock, which was now gone. One former software manager lost nearly $1 million in unvested stock that he was set to get in just 4 months, despite it making up 70% of his total pay. A technical writer also lost a $300,000 bonus tied to unvested restricted stock. It sure seemed like Oracle was targeting these layoffs at people with outstanding stock. As a 30-year Oracle veteran said, "It seems, but I don't know, maybe layoffs follow an algorithm of high-level individual contributors and mid-level managers, especially those with outstanding stock options." For context, Oracle just reported its best growth quarter in 15 years, now with the market cap over $400 billion. Though Oracle is experiencing some pretty big problems with its AI plans, as we'll find out soon. But in the meantime, workers are having a rough time. Some ex-staff were in the US on H-1B visas, and now had just 60 days to find another job or leave the country. Many of the layoffs are those over 40 years old, and 22% are those who worked at Oracle for over 15 years. Workers demanded Oracle match the more generous severance packages offered by Meta, Microsoft, and Cloudflare, including longer pay and accelerated stock vesting. Yeah, Oracle didn't do that, but there wasn't much employees could do about it. Oracle employees aren't unionized. In April, more than 600 Oracle employees signed a letter to company management asking for increased severance, extended healthcare, and other benefits. Oracle responded by saying that it will only address concerns individually. Not only that, the company has since been rejecting many individual requests for better severance, sometimes responding with cookie-cutter language that has nothing to do with the individual circumstances. Oh, also, Oracle workers were training the AI that replaced them, by the way. The job cuts were painful, but what made them particularly bad was how these executives chose to justify or label them. The founder of Oracle, Larry Ellison, bragged at an Oracle development conference. But in reality, former employees had to spend the time trying to reverse engineer faulty code that juniors had generated due to Oracle's AI mandates. Ellison also said, "We are choosing the chips. Anyone whose job is not making the chips run faster is at risk." Workers are basically training an AI clone of themselves. They're having you do something, it's recorded, and then they're going to replace you with whatever you just built. Some CEOs justify job cuts by undermining the people they just fired. Zuckerberg described the layoffs as removing low performers. Pretty awful thing to be labeled when trying to find new work, especially when many of these employees weren't low performers at all according to internal reviews. Cloudflare CEO Matthew Prince also sorted staff into measurers versus builders and wrote that the vast majority of those we laid off last week were measurers. The way these layoffs have been handled, it feels like a clear signal that humans are treated like another asset. Just like data center assets that can be disposed of if they're not the most profitable option. But some of these layoffs are backfiring. When things are done in such bad faith, there can often be large blowback. These layoffs are pretty depressing, but we've gotten some pretty funny responses from staff, those cut, and even those who weren't. After announcing layoffs, 2 engineers at Pinterest built a tool to track internal job cuts after the company refused to share information identifying impacted employees. They were quickly fired. The CEO told workers at a company-wide meeting they should consider working elsewhere if they are working against the direction of the company. We're seeing a shift in corporate culture, and things only get more dramatic from here. Workers' loyalty to their companies is essentially gone, but loyalty to fellow workers and co-workers is growing stronger. A perfect example is Vasilios Sirakis, who was laid off in March 2026 after spending more than 8 years as a senior systems engineer working at Atlassian's edge infrastructure. He was part of the company's more than 1,600 layoffs as it redirected spending towards AI, so he released a video.
Say we can talk more about the Envoy-based product that we had here. So this particular thing.
Within just 8 days, this video had passed 1 million views. It currently sits at over 2.3 million. This has to be the most badass thing ever to happen in the IT world this year. Build infrastructure for a company to grow to nearly $25 billion market cap, gets laid off, gives away Atlassian's entire infrastructure for free online for anyone to copy. Also, he's perfectly within his rights to do this. Most of it was publicly available on Atlassian's engineering blog. Videos like this are now popping up all over YouTube, but some videos are a bit different. This is David Frank, who was laid off. He made this American Pie parody for other Meta employees, which then leaked outside of Meta. Also, remember the weird letter from the Cloudflare CEO? Well, this is Chamat Palihapitiya, a venture capitalist and former Facebook executive.
I thought the Matthew Prince note was horrible.
Okay, explain.
This was like from the PR school of retards.
Okay, here we go.
You could not have written a worse memo. It's like you reduce humans to a label called the measurer, and then you're like, I'm going to lay off all the measurers. Because the reality is that if this is the way that you're going to message something as critical as this, I think you did a horrible job. And now you label these people and you put a scarlet letter on their back. So now when they try to get a different job, they're like, oh, you're one of the Cloudflare measurers. How does that help anybody? It didn't need it to be done this way. There's enough of these tech CEOs that are now public. You can hear them, you can understand them. And I think what we're learning is, man, they're really good at one thing and they're not necessarily as good at all the other things.
He's totally right though. I think these executives are scared to be honest about why they're doing these layoffs, which is basically putting it back into AI spend, so they come up with terms like measurers or low performers. I don't know if layoffs will stop, but it does seem like CEOs are realizing just laying everyone off isn't helping a ton. Zuckerberg has also admitted that he made mistakes with some of these layoffs. Now, Meta is trying to win workers back. The company plans to increase spending on offsites and corporate events, including a company-wide hackathon in July. And all of this is happening while Meta raises its annual spending forecast from $125 billion to $145 billion. I think he knows what these layoffs have cost them, not just in capital, but in trust. Ford is also rehiring 300 veteran quality inspectors after the AI that replaced them didn't really live up to expectations. Who could have seen that coming? Over prior years, we didn't pay as much attention as we should have to the experience of our most knowledgeable engineers that have been with us through many product cycles. Wish more executives would admit this fact. But not everyone is interested in reconciliation. Some workers have chosen a very different response. Revenge, even to the point of sabotaging their own careers. And this is only increasing. According to a Fortune survey, 29% of employees admitted to sabotaging their company's AI strategy. Among Gen Z workers, that figure jumps to 44%. Some engage in what is known as data poisoning, deliberately feeding AI systems bad, misleading, or proprietary information to contaminate the output. Others manipulate performance metrics, making it appear that AI tools are performing worse than they actually are. Roughly 1 in 10 workers admit to doing exactly that. Some bypass the company AI system to feed their company data to other AI platforms. Then there is what some call generating garbage, Workers intentionally prompt AI systems to produce low-quality, nonsensical, or unusable results, creating the impression that the technology is unreliable or simply not ready for the job. There is a growing tension between employers and employees, and as companies push deeper into AI, trust appears to be collapsing. A Yahoo survey found that 67% of respondents believed their company had already suffered a data leak or security breach because an employee used an unproved AI tool. At the same time, 76% of executives said employee sabotage poses a serious threat to their company's future, and perhaps the reason isn't hard to find. In the same survey, 60% of companies said they plan to lay off workers who refuse to adopt AI. Think about the dynamic that creates. Use AI or get laid off, and even if you do, you might still get laid off. Doesn't it make you feel great no matter what you do? How can you work in an environment like this? So many are trying to poison the AI that's replacing them. Several AI industry insiders launched a project called Poison Fountain. Its goal is simple: convincing website operators to embed poison information designed specifically for AI crawlers. Another survey of 1,000 employees and 178 managers found that 85% of recently laid off workers attempted some form of retaliation against their former employer. Remote workers were 47% more likely to do so than on-site employees. The most common methods were surprisingly simple: posting inappropriate content on company social media accounts, sending inappropriate emails to clients, and stealing company assets. Meanwhile, D-Tex's Insider Risk Report found a 35% increase in data theft by departing employees during layoff events. That was back in 2023, and it's likely much higher now, and we're seeing it especially in some very extreme cases. Tech employees are increasingly finding themselves in legal battles with former employees. After Intel announced more than 35,000 job cuts over 2 years, the company accused Luo, a software engineer of 11 years, of copying sensitive company files before disappearing. According to Intel, he spent 4 days transferring more than 18,000 documents, some marked Intel Top Secret, onto an external drive, then he was gone. We don't condone this, of course, but that is pretty funny. Intel spent more than 3 months trying to contact him through phone calls, emails, and even physical letters. The company is now suing for $250,000 and demanding the return of the data. His whereabouts remain unknown, and Intel isn't alone. Elon Musk's xAI has also gone after a former engineer, Zhuzhen Li. Allegedly, Li took confidential information, including uploading xAI's entire codebase before moving to OpenAI. A judge temporarily blocked him from working on or discussing AI technology with OpenAI while the case moved through the court. According to xAI, this wasn't just one employee taking information. The company claims OpenAI was actively recruiting workers with access to Grok's source code. It feels like something's broken right now. Socially, that is. Workers give companies their time, loyalty, expertise, and sometimes entire careers. In return, companies offered stability, opportunity, career growth, and the promise that if you performed well, you'd be rewarded. This was the social, unspoken contract, and it goes both ways. But doesn't it feel like that unspoken trust is breaking? Oracle clawed back stock that employees had spent years working toward. Meta pushed out workers while branding many of them as low performers. Cloudflare calling staff measurers, 4 a.m. emails, years of loyalty erased overnight. Why work here if there's no mutual benefit? I think it's why people are spending less time with companies, because, well, they don't take care of them like they used to. Not just to earn more. A company has moved away from a group of people who agreed to work towards a mutual goal. Now, it's just AI, executives, and shareholders. This is just the tip of the iceberg though. Companies are trying to replace workers everywhere, and one of the big ones is customer support. But in a lot of ways, it's backfiring in some pretty funny ways. To learn how, watch this video next. But until then, I'm Hari, and I'll see you guys on the next one.